Don't get blinded by the light from fame. We're all ordinary people at the end of the day. We make decisions, some good, some bad, but we all pushing for things we never had.
Ordinary people with extraordinary ways.
Yeah.
Everyday people trying to make a way.
It's just us.
Ordinary people with extraordinary ways.
Yeah.
Trying to make a difference step by step each day.
Thank you very much for tuning in for this week's show. This is your favorite host, Paul Semeh, IJU Ghana Live. You can call me Impactpreneur if you want. I'm here today going to have a very interesting, inspiring conversation with a producer, a creative person, somebody who I admire a lot. She's used her creativity in different ways to impact people and create change. So without wasting so much time, I'm going to usher in my guest and welcome Hilda to this show.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Great. Welcome to the show again. Introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself and who you are and how all of this began in a creative space.
Okay. Well, my name is Hilda Willis, and I am a producer, director, creative director, performing artist, and career coach. I've been in the business of arts and entertainment since I was 11, because that's when I got my first check for performing. So It's been my life. Yes,
11
it's been my life work.
Wow.
Life work. So I don't usually say what my age is, but I will say that I have been in the business in one way or another for almost, oh my goodness, I'm getting myself stuck. So because I know this is interesting because it's really a radio show that people can tune in and see what it was like for us to talk to each other. Yeah. So let me say, I'm not going to say how long I've been in the business in terms of the years, because I'm a lady and I want to just let people think that I'm as young as I look.
You are as young as you look, and in fact, you're looking pretty in this interview as well.
Thank you. But I will say that I have done it all of my life. Ironically enough, I knew that this was something that I would want to do from my first play, which was in church. And so maybe from the age of 7 or 8, I said, I'm going to do this thing called performing arts. However, I had not decided that it would be my career.
Okay.
So God kind of decided that for me.
So has it been like over 20 years? You can give us a range. You don't have to tell us exactly. Like, it's been over 20 years?
Okay, so it's been...
Not exactly the years, but over a certain number of years.
It's been between 45 and 50 years.
Wow. Outstanding performance. And this is great to note, because then it helps give our viewers the understanding that the journey you're going to share with us, it's been a very long journey coming. And so it's just us. They can take inspiration from what you have done. They can learn from you, and they can take the same path and be us. How did you mentioned from a very young age, 7, 8, you didn't know you were going to be in there. God led you to this path. So will you kindly help us understand how you turned a young passion, like a raw passion for the creative space, into a whole career?
Okay. I am an advocate for arts and education. I'm an advocate for activism, to use art as a tool to create change, right? Okay. So that when it comes to young people, any young person that is interested in any form of art, whether it be performing, visual, literary, I encourage the adults in their lives to use that as an outlet for them, whether they're interested in doing this in any form or fashion later.
Okay.
Art helps develop character. It helps people to understand the importance of empathy. It helps people to understand other people's lives and situations and circumstances. So there, in my opinion, is a great value for any child to participate in the arts. Again, dancing, singing, playing an instrument, drawing, it doesn't matter. It gives you that range of usable tools for life, one.
Wow.
So lots of times young people will have an opportunity to do the arts, and at some point, someone in their life will then say, oh, but I don't want you to do this for a living. You need to go and get a real education or real training so you'll have a real job.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because arts is an industry within itself. And everyone doesn't aspire to be a recording artist on Broadway, in movies, in plays. Everyone doesn't think about doing it for a living. And so sometimes what happens when we tell young people, oh, but you can't make it, after you've spent so many years saying, oh, you're so cute, you're so talented, I love you, I'm so proud of you, it can be very confusing and very upsetting, right?
Yeah,
so I think that art is great for everyone because everyone has creative expression. But for those that want to pursue it, it's like anything else.
Okay.
You become educated in it, and then you can go and have a formal education if you want, or you can take private lessons if you want. You can find a mentor, someone that you can sit down at the bottom of their feet, if you will, and just take counsel. You can volunteer. There are lots of ways for you to stay engaged.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the time that you can then gauge, oh, is this something that I have the discipline to do? See, it's not all about your talent. Do you have the discipline? Do you have the focus, the fortitude? If you have thin skin, this is not the place for you to be because you're going to be told no 10 times more than you're going to be told yes.
Okay. People, as a young parent as well, more often time we are tempted to think that if your child, your daughter, your son is successful, then they have been to law school or they've been to a school where they are either lawyers or doctors, or they are you're an engineer, or you are a CEO of a firm. So you are saying that that is not a measure for success. I just want you to emphasize that point more, because I know as a people, also here in Ghana, we believe a lot more go into formal education and get some certificates and work in a formal job, 8 to 5 job. But you are saying something different. You're challenging the status quo. So can you expand on that a bit more for me?
If you are serious in the arts, you need to get as much and the best training as you can, because that needs to measure or equal where you ultimately want to go. Okay, so you can get a formal education in the arts, your BFA, that's a Bachelor's of Fine Arts, or your Master's of Fine Arts. Okay, and you can use that to teach if you want to teach the arts. Okay. But being successful in the arts, I think what most parents, if you will, don't realize is that it's a real industry. There's a union, you know.
Yeah.
You have benefits. It's not this illusion that if you're not on television, that you can't be successful.
Okay. Okay.
And then there are many different aspects of the arts. There's the technical side.
Yeah.
There's the performing side, literary side, light designers, costume designers, hair, makeup.
Wow.
There's so many different jobs that you can have within the arts that most people don't think about. Yeah. And so let me say this too. I'm a performing artist, and I will do that until I die. My life work is based, my shelf life is my life. So a 20-year-old can't play a 60-year-old role.
Wow.
My mother is 93 years old. Now, I'm a character actress, so I could play a 93-year-old, but look how many artists are still living well into their 70s and 80s. They can play their own roles.
Yep.
So this is something that you do the rest of your life. I'll use me for an example.
Yes.
I still perform. So I am an actress. I'm a singer.
Yeah.
I move well. I don't dance as well as I used to, but I still move well enough to be cast in a musical.
Wow.
But I'm also a director.
Great.
I write. So I have work that has been produced in the world as a writer. I produce theater.
Wow.
I work in the music industry. So the other perception that's wrong about the creative arts is that you are in a box.
Okay.
Even the preacher tells a joke before the sermon.
Wow. If you are parents watching or would be parent watching the show and you have had doubts about your son or your daughter's desire to go into the creative arts, I'm hoping you've changed your mind by now. But Hilda, help us understand, how did your journey, like what kind of trainings did you have to take? What kind of schools did you have to take? Because you seem to have in-depth knowledge about the industry. You've opened my minds to areas I didn't know, and I'm sure my viewers are also having fun knowing all the areas. What kind of trainings did you have to take? College, high school, and all of that. Can you sum it up for us or tell us that?
As soon as you can start, you start, right? So I think if we're talking about young people who want to pursue it,
yeah,
whether you start in the community center,
yeah,
or take private lessons until you can go to school. If the school has the arts program, great. You work out just like you would if you were doing sports, science, math. The curriculum is there.
yeah.
So as long as the curriculum is in place, that is where your journey can begin. If you know that your child has a desire to learn more, then you do more. You find out where the places are that you can take them to be developed. If they want to go to college, they can audition. If they're going to a school that's high ranking for performing arts or visual arts, whatever it is, they can audition for college and gain scholarships through their talent.
Wow.
They an intern, volunteer at the local theater companies, the local recording studios, whatever it is that they feel like they want to do, you go and find those opportunities so that you can learn and grow. It's not always about getting paid for something that you're still developing yourself. So even if you have a natural talent, it has to be developed. So yes, you can go to school, formal school, you can go to a conservatory.
Yeah.
If you are that ambitious, then start auditioning for the community plays, start auditioning for local bands, start auditioning for local dance companies so that you can start building your resume. Then you build your relationships with people.
Wow. This eye-opening thoughts you are sharing is leading me to want to talk to you about your role at PAPI, the Performing Arts Program for Youth. But before that, just let our listeners in on the kind of qualifications or education you took personally to be able to get you to be as exposed in the industry, because we still are learning that, and we can't somehow feel the arts is a fun thing, is for wayward people. I mean, at least in Ghana, a lot of people still have that stereotype. So just take our listeners through the educational part you have had, but professional training you have had to get you to this point where you've been in this business, this career, this industry for over 40 years.
Wow. So I started working on my resume, obviously, and was working before I went to college.
Wow.
I didn't go to college because I needed more training as a performing artist. I went to college I majored in acting as my major, but my minor was in management because I understood that arts management. I understood that if I was going to be an entrepreneur, which most people don't look at artists as a business. This is my business. This is my business. Okay. This is the building that my business operates from, right? And so when I went to college, I wanted to learn all the other aspects of the business. Okay. I wanted to learn more about design. I needed to learn more about marketing. I needed to learn more about management. That was a personal choice that I made. Now, my concentration was acting.
Wow.
But because I knew I was going to go out into the world and do this as a real business, it benefited me to go to college to get those other pieces. So, like I said, a person can get a bachelor's of fine arts. They could get a master's of fine arts. That's the highest degree that you get as a performing artist or as an artist. I don't have a master's of fine arts. So let me be honest about that. Yes, I did go to college to get a formal education.
Yeah.
However, the experience that I had leading up to college and into college qualified me to actually continue to keep working. Right. And so I did that. I actually had owned and run a performing arts school for 12 years in Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow.
Because I wanted to teach, that was important to me. Still, as an artist, as an entrepreneur, I opened a school so that young people could be taught by professionals in a way that would help them understand that them wanting to pursue the arts was really okay.
So listeners, welcome to IJU Ghana Live. It's your hosts, your favorite host, Paul Semeh. You can call me the Impactpreneur. Today I have a very interesting host, guest joining me on this show. She is an actress, she's a producer, she's a creative person. You've met her a bit already. This is part 2. So we're going to delve deeper into our conversation that we had the last session. So Hilda, welcome to the show again.
Thank you, Paul. I'm glad to be back.
Great. So we had a very interesting conversation. You were telling us about how a lot of our young people can see the arts and see it has many parts. It has different professions, different areas, and people can study in it and all of that. I think that ties us a bit more into your work at Papi. So maybe you can introduce your work at Papi and tell people more how you are using art to empower the youth.
Oh, okay. So PAPI stands for Performing Arts Program for Youth. It was a nonprofit, but also a performing arts school that I started with Jane Fonda.
Great.
Ran that school for 12 years.
All right.
Writing curriculum for middle and high school.
Okay.
So that was in Atlanta, and I no longer have that school there. But it was just, she actually started out as one of my clients.
Okay.
I mentioned before, yes, that I'm a career coach. Okay. And because of some of the things that I have done in my career, and I have one foot in the professional world and one foot in community.
Yes.
And so many of the professionals that I've worked with that share a passion with young people will call me and say, help me, how do I do this? I want to start a foundation, or I have a foundation, but now I need someone to help me with programming. Okay. So it really started out with me being a consultant.
Okay.
I was doing an independent study of her program.
Okay. Along
with Harvard University.
Okay.
And so at 1 year into their evaluation, when the report came out, they said, you should have an executive director and an artistic director. You need someone who understands the business and someone who understands the arts and the training.
Oh.
And Harvard said, you should really ask Hilda Willis to move from New York to Atlanta to see if she will run this for you.
Wow.
And so it really goes back to yesterday when we were talking, when I was, I think, then in North Carolina, and today I'm in South Carolina.
Yeah.
It goes back to me saying that when I chose to go to college, I chose to focus on the business of the arts.
Okay.
So doing that, it afforded me lots of different ways to engage in the industry. And so I've worked with young people from all over the world most of my career, but partnering with someone who had the financial resources and wanted to do something for the community that she had moved to, I got the call. How do I do this? I'm a white woman, but I want to work with brown and black children. So she recognized that she was not the visual that they needed.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so,
I'm sure that also ties into living your art at Hilda's place. I'm sure you can touch a bit on that as well, linking it to Puppy. You have done so much with creative art. I can't believe.
Well, Living Your Art is my brand, my business brand, as a producer and as a director. It allows me to do all of my passion projects.
Okay. Great.
Right? So in North Carolina, I opened up a gift shop and gallery for visual artists.
Yes.
And then I had a performing arts studio for performing artists.
Okay.
And then later I expanded it to include a cafe so that it would have culinary arts, visual arts, literary arts, and performing.
Wow.
So ultimately, my long range plan is to have Living Your Art institutes or satellites all over. Anybody, anywhere that wants someone like me that can come in and build a total multidisciplinary program for them, that's what I'm equipped to do. And
please, there are a lot of people listening in Ghana and on the continent. What kind of collaborations are you looking forward to if people want to collaborate with you to, go into arts for development?
Well, so it really depends on what somebody wants to do, but this work started, I want to call it international programming, cross-programming, started for me maybe in, I want to say 1985 in St. Martin, in the Antilles.
Yes.
That was the first international community that I worked with to help them create programs for their young people, not only for the young people, but for their elders, because they were interested in intergenerational programming. So when it comes to the arts, all I can say is that I'm here, people can get my information, but anybody who wants to talk to me about how to start or how to expand their existing program, I'm available. I think that's the most important thing. Ghana has me as a resource if they want to. I've talked to friends of mine in Gambia and Senegal. I, for a couple of years, ran a camp, all Black camp, founded by Black people in Massachusetts. It's called Camp Atwater.
Wow.
And a part of their program was an international component. So for one whole month, it was only boys with an all-male staff.
Okay.
Then for one whole month, it was all females with an all-female staff.
Wow.
And each of them, I hired, I had a staff of 35 people.
Yep.
And of the 35, I had 10 international people of color from around the globe.
Wow.
From Togo, from Nigeria, Brazil.
Wow.
Like, so I had the fortune of being able to connect, build bridges culturally across arts, across education. So the only thing I would say is just hit me up, as the young people would say. You are my ambassador. So just hit me up.
Great, definitely. I'm not going to let you leave the show without not tapping into that skill. So tell me, what creative things do you think IJU Ghana Live? I've already had fun working with you, but with all you have just told everyone, I want more. What more? What do you think we can add to make our show more creative, the kind of people that should be on the show, so that we are able to tap into, be more creative with our show?
Well, as the creative director for IJU,
yes,
you actually now have me on your team, and I would love to help book some of your guests.
Yes.
And I'll use tonight as an example. It's the 75th birthday for Donny Hathaway, who was one of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time.
Okay.
We're doing a tribute to him tonight.
Great.
Now, there are many artists on that platform.
Wow.
So Donita Hathaway, his daughter, has already agreed to come on your show.
Whoa.
And so, yes. And there's a few more people that, if you will allow me, I would be happy to introduce you and Ghana to.
Please do. And obviously, I can see the viewers on our IJU Ghana Live channel are itching to meet you, to get contact with you. How would they reach you? Which mediums, which avenues can they reach you to be able to tap into your creative skill set?
Well, I would say they could just email me at hildawillis@gmail.com.
Okay.
I will probably at some, because if they're coming recommended by you, they can contact me directly. If they're not coming through you, they have to deal with my manager or my agent.
Okay.
Right. So even, so what I want to say that I think is important. We talked a little bit yesterday about the different levels of participating in the arts.
Yes.
And we talked about how much education you would need, or, how many opportunities you would need. And I just talked about being focused and disciplined and having integrity.
Yeah.
For me, I've been fortunate enough as a professional to work with some of the most renowned artists nationally and internationally in my career.
Wow.
But I also have a passion to work with community.
Yes.
So for me to be a part of IJU Ghana is the perfect thing.
Yes. I really cherish working with you. This past few weeks that we've been working has been really, really eye-opening. Creative areas of my brain I have not reached out to. I had to go there and grab all that creativity I could find thanks to you. And I don't know what more to say than we are bridging the bridge here. We are bridging the gap, and together we are able to reach. But before I let you go, I have a bonus question for you.
You have a question for me before we go?
Yeah, you taught me to be creative, so I'm going to use that same creativity with you. So, what unique thing about you that people will be surprised to hear about?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm a little stuck. Let me see. Okay. Well, I just finished my term as a town commissioner in the community that I live in. So even as an artist, I use my art to make sure that even on the political landscape, that I participate as a Black woman of African descent. It's important to use my voice politically.
Oh, I'm sure I am surprised. And
so I guess you didn't know that.
No,
I've been a commissioner.
I didn't know that. Oh, great way.
I'm full of surprises.
Yes.
I'm full of surprises.
Yeah, you taught me also to be full of surprises. So that was a bonus question. And I really, I'm glad I did ask that question because it's really made me know something I really didn't know, although we've been working for weeks. And viewers and listeners, what a way to bring all of this down with my very creative director partner, IJU Atlanta, IJU Ghana Live. We are really pleased to have all of you watching the show. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Click the notification button so you can always be alerted to watch this show. This show you cannot miss. We are doing all our best to make sure that we can bridge the gap. Africans on the continent, Africans in the diaspora. So together we can share our stories, know who we are, and rise together. Thank you very much for watching this show. And until our next show is a goodbye.
Don't get blinded by the light from fame. We're all ordinary people at the end of the day. We make decisions, some good, some bad, but we all pushing for things we never had.
Ordinary people.